Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cup Council. How are we all? Hopefully, all of you are having a fantastic Thursday, wherever you are around the world. And welcome back to another Liverpool news episode for you guys this evening. Of course, as you can see by the thumbnail and the title, we are going to be talking, of course, about Stefan Bajcetic. Of course, it does look like he's going to be going and joining Las Palmas from, of course, obviously from Liverpool. But, of course, it does mean his loan move at Salzburg has been terminated. And, of course, he is currently, I believe, today he's had a medical at Las Palmas as well. And, of course, it is set to be announced officially, at least anyway, over the next 24 to 48 hours. We're going to talk, though, a little bit about him. Obviously, we'll talk a little bit about the squad as well, talk a little bit about last night as well, obviously with the Champions League games as well, and also talk, a little bit on a former Red, Jordan Henderson moving to Monaco as well, which I think that is again a very, very weird move. I will say that for sure anyway, but let me know how all of you are in the comments down below as well. But of course, that will be towards the end of the show where we talk about Hendo anyway. But again, let me know all of you are. But big up Hero saying you sound on the mend. Good news. Yeah, it is good news. Finally, I can actually speak without coughing my guts up. And again, hopefully you guys know I'm not going to sound like a robot or an allergic robot anyway, at least anyway. But big up Hero, hope you're doing well, mate, as well anyway. But we're going to kick straight into it chat anyway. We're going to talk, of course, Stefan Bajcetic. Obviously the news did break this morning from James Pearce from The Athletic. The reporting that, again, Stefan Bajcetic has decided to join Las Palmas rather than Porto for the rest of the season. Liverpool had planned for him to stay at Salzburg until the end, until after the Club World Cup, but the player increasingly keen to move on, and the clubs have agreed to terminate the loan move. Of course, now Liverpool, again, a lot of rumours have been suggested that even Real Betis was even linked. I think David C. Kopp, I think back in the start of the month, reported that exclusively to him that, again, Stefan Bajcetic looked like he was likely to go to Betis as well, and that deal looked like it had happened at the time. We didn't really hear much else on it, and then there've been a few rumors, especially the last week, I would say, that again there was going to be something where he'd move from Salzburg, maybe even come back to Liverpool. There was a lot of conversations going on, but of course this news now today, breaking from James Pearce, that again Stefan Bajcetic is going to leave Salzburg and join Las Palmas over FC Porto as well. But he did, James Pearce as well, did also add to the situation as well, also saying, let me quickly get it up for you guys, saying again, loan to Las Palmas should be finalised in the next 24 to 48 hours. Getafe were also keen, but come down to a straight choice between Las Palmas and Porto as well. And I kind of feel for Stefan Bajcetic for some sense, because again, look, I think Liverpool, I think in the summer had different plans for Stefan Bajcetic. I don't think we intentionally wanted him to go to, or initially wanted him to go to Salzburg. I think we wanted maybe even a Premier League club or even a high-end Championship club to maybe take Stefan Bajcetic. But and it ended up that, of course, Pep Lijnders went out to Salzburg, and then he got Bobby Clark, he got Stefan Bajcetic. Those types of players, again, he's been very familiar with of course working with the under 21s and under 23 system, and then of course obviously being the Liverpool assistant manager to Jurgen Klopp. Again, he's been used to these players. But I think in the summer, I think all of us thought it was a really good move because, again, familiarity in terms of, again, knows the manager, knows the system, knows, again, the type of character he'd be working with. But again, Pep Lijnders getting sacked from Salzburg. I think the writing was pretty much on the wall then. And now, even him moving to Las Palmas, Of course, back in Spain for him, of course, that would be, a good thing for him. But I do think in terms of the sporting side of things, I think it's kind of in the wrong direction, especially if he's going to be a starter for Liverpool in the future. I think a lot of us think that Stefan Bajcetic could potentially be a starter for Liverpool in the next few years. I think, the season that he had when he broke through, I think everybody thought, wow, what a player Liverpool potentially have on their hands. But, again, Arne Slot thought like, look, we're going to send him out on loan, that will get him more game time compared to, again, the preseason minutes that he was getting, and compared to, I think, Arne Slot wanted to see maybe, him getting a bit more progression in terms of his development, because, again, at Liverpool, he's not going to get that. Excuse me, he's not going to get that at Liverpool at the moment, because, again, Ryan Gravenberch is ahead of him at the moment in the six. Of course, Tyler Morton as well, I think, was ahead in Arne Slot's selection as well. So there's there's many thoughts and many blocks in between them. But I do think, and I want to know your guys' thoughts as well. But for me, I would be worried for the future of Stefan Bajcetic at Liverpool, because again, him going out to Las Palmas, I don't think it's a good move, and I might be wrong with that. And again, he may gain, massive amount of confidence now, and then come back in the summer, and again, Liverpool might think differently of him in the summer. But I do think he may end up going out on loan again next season, and then we might be looking at him again in a further year's time. But I think, as of things right now, I would have liked to have seen him have a low move in the Championship, because we've seen, Liverpool loaning players to the Championship has worked out pretty decently. Harvey Elliott, way back when, went to Blackburn, had a brilliant season. Fabio Carvalho last season, went on loan to Leipzig, didn't really work. Did it, went on loan then for 6 months at Hull. I think that got us the transfer. I think of Fabio Carvalho was that 6 months that he had at Hull. And then, of course, there's been other players like Owen Beck this season, I think, has been really good for Blackburn as well. So I think that's a little bit of a thought process with it as well. But I'd be surprised to see what does happen with Stefan Bajcetic in the future. I don't think he will be here next season, if I'm being perfectly honest. And that's a shame, because, again, the player that we did see, at the beginning, I think he is more of a Jurgen Klopp type player than he is, maybe an Arne Slot player. But again, look, he's still young. He's 19. Again, he has plenty of potential. It's just getting his best position in. And if we used to say right now, where is Stefan Bajcetic's best position? I think some of us, again, think he might be a 6, but even when he was in the Liverpool team, wasn't really playing a 6, was he? He was playing on the left-hand side of Liverpool's midfield 3 at times, wasn't he? So, I don't know. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments anyway. But big up Damo saying, I'm not going to lie, Con. It felt a bit weird last night, not being top of the Champions League for a while until Atalanta equalised against Barca. Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, I 100% agree. Look, I think Liverpool, for the entirety of the Champions League, has deserved to be number one in that table. I don't think there's been a better, a team better than us, I would say, in the Champions League. I know people will go, oh, Inter only conceded this and Arsenal conceded that. Like Liverpool, for me, we beat teams like Madrid. We beat Leverkusen as well. Like Liverpool, for me, were the best team in Europe at the moment as well. But yeah, it was a bit weird, wasn't it? And I do think, though, like last night in the Champions League, like that is exactly what UEFA wanted. The unpredictability of it. From top to bottom. Us losing as well to PSV. I know, of course, it's like I said in the post match last night. Again, nobody's going to care, because Liverpool pretty much played, their C team last night as well, for to rest players for Bournemouth. But I do think as well, like I like that. I was very skeptical of the whole Champions League phase, and I think a lot of us was, and I think rightfully so. I don't think anybody's wrong for saying like the last the last group phase, they wanted to keep that. I don't think that's something wrong to say, but I think now, looking at this table format and looking at how it's gone, I do think it's really good, because again, teams are playing. We're no longer seeing, maybe one or two teams where, like, you'll have one group that's kind of the group of death, and then you'll have the other one that's, a bit, a bit tricky, but then the rest of the groups, then you're like, oh yeah, them two are going to qualify. They could cause an upset that you're there and everywhere, but it's like now, every single team is going to face a tough road in the Champions League, and I prefer that. And even for Liverpool, like, our Champions League run wasn't the smoothest. Even though we did win every game, bar last night. Like, look, Liverpool went, we went away to AC Milan, we went away to Leipzig, we were at home for Leverkusen and Real Madrid. Like, again, we played very tough teams as well, and I prefer that. I prefer playing everybody, because, look, you're not going to. For me, that puts the standards down then for the rest of the season, where people go, yeah, I don't want to play Liverpool, and it's kind of that fear factor where now people look at Liverpool, Barcelona, like, you look at these teams and go, yeah, we definitely don't want to put up with them. And even, I'll quickly check now as well, but looking at the Champions League knockout stage as well, and looking how it's going to turn out, genuinely, like, you've got, like, Manchester City. Of course, Man City are going to play Celtic, but Man City are going to play either Real Madrid or Bayern Munich, and that's a mad fixture already. So again, at least two big teams are going to be out of the competition before the round of the 16. That's I massively prefer that. Like, again, looking at it now, you've got um you've got Real Madrid, you've got, Real Madrid against Bayern Munich, you've got Celtic against Man City, you've got Monaco against Brest, you've got PSG against Benfica, Milan against PSV, Atalanta against Dortmund. That's going to be a very good game for sure as well. Obviously, Atalanta are a bit unlucky not to get automatic qualification as well. But again, I love that. I love the fact that this format, you've got teams like Real Madrid and Bayern Munich and Man City who could all be out by the round of 16. And I really like that. I prefer that in many ways as well. But Damon says, it seems like his Liverpool career stalled when he went to Salzburg. It seems to be reversed now with the move to Las Palmas. Porto seemed to be a bigger opportunity, but maybe he is prioritizing playing. True. I think looking at Stefan Bajcetic's numbers, I did have them saved. Hang on a minute, chat. Stefan, there we go. But yeah, looking at his games this season, he's played 18 games in all competitions. He got 12 games, sorry, in the Austrian Bundesliga, 5 Champions League games and a cup game as well. Obviously, no goals, no assists, neither. He got 6 starts out of them 12 games. That he did play in the Austrian league, and looking at them, again, not really great when you actually look at the matches as well. He played 45 minutes in, hang on a minute. No, he played 5 minutes against Atletico Madrid a couple of days ago. Obviously yesterday. What am I talking about? He played 45 minutes on the 15th of January against Midtjylland as well. Actually got a 7.5 rating in that game as well. Only got 35 minutes against Bayern Munich, 24 minutes against PSG. Like, again, his numbers, like, he's not played a full 90 minutes. He's played, like, the last 90 minutes he played was on the 6th of October. was Stefan Bajcetic. So probably I would say, like, you even look though at Porto, like I think Porto are second, I believe, in the Portuguese league. I will double check that before I do say any more. Let me double check. No, actually, sorry, no, they're third on goal difference. So yeah, you'd think, with that being said, I do think, yeah, I would agree. The last Palmas move is probably for him to play more, because again, I think obviously Porto at the moment they do play the double pivot with Varela and Suso, is it, or Ciso? I think it is at the moment. Again, is Stefan Bajcetic going to upset that? Probably not. So when you do look at that, is it the case of, again, were they just going to bring him in for added numbers again, so he's going to be on the bench for 90% of the time, or at Las Palmas, he's going to get a lot of game time, where you hope he does, and again, I hope, with me saying like, oh look, for me he's not going to develop much more than what he is now. Again, the most important thing is getting minutes in his legs, but it's also the quality of it as well, where again, I just think a championship move would have been good for him. And it is a bit concerning as well, especially if Liverpool or Stefan Bajcetic just wanted the Salzburg move to be terminated. Like he wanted to get out of there. He didn't want to be there. Obviously, Pep Linders was the main guy that brought him into the football club. But if that was the whole reason, then why hasn't there been, other top clubs coming in for him? Because I'm sure if somebody, a Premier League club would want Stefan Bajcetic on loan for the rest of the season, and I'm pretty sure about that. But it's like, you look back to the summer, even, Barcelona were linked to him, and they wanted him. And then, I think obviously because Barcelona came in for him, Salzburg came in and tried to get him straight away, and then they ended up getting him. And I do think, look, for me, on paper it made sense to go to Salzburg, but for now, looking back at it, it was probably the worst decision the Liverpool could have done, in many ways anyway. But I do think the last Palmas one over Porto, it does make sense, but I hope, just for Stefan Bajcetic's sake, it is going to be now the case where he does get game time, and he is going to get now a lot of minutes where, hopefully he can, gain some confidence, and then, we'll look again now in the summer, of course, and see where we go from there. Anyway, but John says, hello, Con. Thoughts on players leaving on loan? Dan's Morton. Would you sell Morton instead, as I think he deserves first team football? Well, I'm glad you've mentioned that, John, as well. Of course, we're going to talk briefly on here. Of course, loan exits are expected from the football club. Arne Slot did speak about it last night in the press conference. He did mention, of course, obviously this is Lewis Steele's tweet out about it, saying that, again, Arne Slot says he will talk to Richard Hughes tomorrow on which young players can go out on loan in the first, obviously in the last days of the January window. He does say, though, but wants James McConnell to stick around, as he's very impressed with him tonight as well. Which, again, James McConnell had a very, very good game last night. I thought he was one of the people, who was very, he was very good in that team. Again, I think especially, him, Chiesa, like we mentioned last night in the post match, then too, were brilliant last night. Again, other players were, a bit terrible in some ways, but McConnell, I think, again, was it last year in the FA Cup, had a really good game. I think it was Norwich. I think, yeah, it was the game after Jurgen announced that he was going to be leaving at the club. McConnell, I think, played about 60, 70 minutes in that game, and was really, really good. And even last night in the Champions League, like, even though I know people have criticised Jadon Danns, which, again, I don't get why. It's a Champions League game. It didn't really mean anything. It's a game more of to see where the players are. I do think Danns should go out on loan. I think realistically now, like McConnell, can come on, a couple of times throughout the season and maybe rest, maybe you rest the McAllister, for example, or if Liverpool are, 3-4 up, you can rotate, you can afford to rotate then in that way as well. But I do think Liverpool, for me at least anyway, I think they should be looking at Dan's going out on loan. There's probably other kids as well that should go out on loan. Tyler Morton, what do you do with Tyler Morton? I think if obviously if an offer come in, it has to be for the right price. But I think a loan move for even Tyler Morton would be good. I think obviously we've got Plymouth coming up in the FA Cup. Our second team should be good enough for that, which I think it is capable of. But that's for me where McConnell comes in, for example, where he could play that Portsmouth game perfectly, and that's hopefully the situation where Liverpool find themselves. But I do think I personally would look for a loan move for Dan's just to get him game time, because he's not going to play any more games in the team, and he's not going to be, I don't think he'll be satisfied again going to play for the under 21s or under 23s. Again, he'll want to get game time, and if you can go and do like a Harvey Elliott, play 6 months at at a club in the Championship, get them 5-10 goals in the season ahead, like that would be really, really good as well. So I think that would be very, very intriguing to see what does happen there. Anyway, but Ethan Jack as well, saying right, the boys. Damos says maybe the sports science and data department dudes saw that it was going to be a long road back to full fitness, and the form he showed when the first broke through, which is why he was loaned. But it's a slow progress. Yeah, 100%. And even last season with Bajcetic and going back, a little bit, but even with Bajcetic, he got, he came back, didn't he? Played that 45 minutes in the Europa League game. I think he played right back, didn't he, chat? And then, Jurgen said, we brought him back way too early. Spent then, 4 months out injured again. Came back towards the back end of last season. Jurgen Klopp said it like, he can play, but, we don't want to risk him. Had a fullish preseason. I think he suffered another setback in preseason. And then, of course, went out on loan. Again, I hope he can just gain some confidence wherever he goes. Anyway, but they were saying McConnell was very influential last night, neat and tidy in everything he did. Yeah, absolutely. And that's again, that's the main important thing, where he looked composed, didn't he? He didn't look out of, he didn't look scared, because it's the Champions League. He looked very, belonging, and he looked like he, deserved to be there, which, like, all of Liverpool's kids, it's not like, 10, 15, 20 years ago, even, where, if Liverpool put, if it was said that Liverpool were playing the kids in a Champions League game, you'd go, oh, what the hell are we doing? This, that, and the other. I feel like players around the age now, they're so used to playing in situations like this, where, again, they're not going to play week in, week out, and they're not going to play, huge games, for example. But if you need to throw them in for a reason, or you need to do, certain things in terms of, again, playing last night just due to resting key players, that, you can do that now, because, again, the talent that's there, you've got McConnell, Trainioni come on, of course, you've got Jay Dan's already there, Rio Nguma as well, who has, had an influence already on the team this year, due to him playing the FA Cup. There's so many people there already in the youth team, where Liverpool for the next, 5 years will be getting these players, coming through and getting even better, when they're playing alongside, McAllister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Darwin Núñez, Diogo Jota. They're playing alongside these players and learning from them, which is the best thing they can possibly do. Which again, is a great thing, realistically, anyway. But before we do shoot off and before we do talk anything else, let's talk about Jordan Henderson. Then, obviously, former Liverpool captain Jordan Henderson, who again is on the move. Of course, obviously, he left Liverpool, didn't he? Way back when, to of course the Saudis, and now again he's on the move. Again, and according to Fabrizio Romano, he's on the move to Monaco. Now he is playing tonight for Ajax. He did start the game. Of course, he is currently Ajax's club captain. But what is interesting, and of course, you can see by Fabrizio Romano's tweet, Monaco are closing in on a deal to sign Jordan Henderson from Ajax as the new midfielder. What is interesting, and I did find it very funny, they have started him tonight, but they've also stripped him of the captaincy, which is interesting a little bit. I think that's I think that's a clear indication of what is happening with Hendo. Now, Ajax supposedly, according to the Dutch media, are trying to block the move. Ajax don't want Jordan Henderson to leave. And it looks like, it is the case that Jordan Henderson's just gone, yeah, I want to leave, and hasn't told anyone. Judging by, again, Fabrizio Romano's report, French reporters in Monaco also confirming that, they are, they've intensified their efforts in getting Jordan Henderson. So, with that being said, again, is Jordan Henderson forcing a move out of Ajax? It looks that way, and again, I think the captaincy being, taken away from him tonight, I think that's a clear indication of, again, look, Ajax, I think, are a bit annoyed, by this situation. Again, I don't think there's been any conversation of a transfer fee yet, neither. So, again, obviously at the moment it'll be an interesting situation, but as of things right now, it does look like he is going to leave Ajax to go to Monaco. But I'd be really intrigued to see how much the transfer fee is for Jordan Henderson, because again, obviously, I think Ajax signed him for. Actually, I will double check how much Ajax did actually sign him for, because I don't think it was cheap. They bought him from Al Ettifaq. If I've pronounced that right, apologies if I haven't. I was just, to be fair, I was just double checking to see whether or not Jordan Henderson had scored, because I've seen Ajax were 2-0 up. Sorry, chat. I am double checking how much they signed him for. Let me double check. Was it 3.5 million? I thought it was more than that. Ajax. Oh no, it's a free transfer, so that's even worse than what I thought. Anyway, of course, it does say that Al Ettifaq did buy him for 40 million euros for Liverpool. So, yeah, it would be very intriguing. Anyway, I think he's out. I think he's out of contract in a year's time, so I don't think it'll be an expensive signing. But even still, I don't think Ajax are very happy that they're going to be losing Jordan Henderson, which, we could say that Jordan Henderson is kind of a snake in the grass for that anyway. But look, that's just us saying it anyway. But let us know your guys' thoughts anyway on Jordan Henderson leaving for Monaco, and he's going to be playing in the French league, which I think that's going to be very interesting to see how he does. Well, first of all, playing for Monaco, and second of all, playing. Obviously, he's going to be reunited with Taki Minamino. So when you look at it like that, and looking how good Taki Minamino's done for Liverpool. Sorry, chap. I've got something in my eye. Damo says McConnell absolutely watching Gravenberch in training. Took the ball out of the defence of the half turn and a few times progressed up the field, having lost an opposition player who was trying to press him. Yeah, 100%. Look, he was really good last night for sure. But Damo saying, what about Chiesa's pressing, closing down the PSV defence? I didn't know he had that in him. His energy levels looked absolutely. Sorry, Sorry, Damo. I'm bloody trying to read your comment, and my eyes playing up. Look decent, too. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I think he surprised a lot of people last night. To be fair, just due to him, his running. I think every time he had the ball, he tried to do something with it, which was a good thing. But I do also think, we haven't seen the best of him yet in the Liverpool shirt, which hopefully that'll come now because he's fully fit. That's the big positive thing. Like, he can play on the left, he can play on the right, he can actually press the ball, which is great. He's not just been brought in for the number aspect of things, where sometimes Liverpool have maybe brought people in, because they can score a goal here and there, but he can actually, if we took Mo Salah out, for example, in terms of us, in terms of our defensive work rate, in terms of the, even if we took out a Gakpo or Luis Diaz, we're not missing than anyone, in terms of, again, the press, and that's a small sample size of what we see in Chiesa. And I'm hoping, once we, do see a lot more of him, like, again, the quality will will show now with him, and hopefully that'll be, just the first step into him, becoming the Chiesa that we wish that he was going to be, when we all seen that Liverpool were going for him. Because he can be a very impactful player on Liverpool's second half of the season. He's already been that. The Brentford game, I thought he was really good. Last night, we didn't get the result, but even still, like, last night was really good. And there's probably one or two other games as well where he's come on, had like a 10-minute appearance and been very decent with that as well. So, look, I think Chiesa definitely has, extra to give to Liverpool. But again, the main important thing is just keeping him fit, because the injury record isn't the best. And also, he has struggled to get up to fitness, which hopefully now that's past him, now at Liverpool, and now he can kick on. And hopefully, we'll be speaking about Chiesa adding goals and assists as well anyway. But I'm going to leave it there for tonight, guys. Anyway, a big thank you for everyone for tuning in to tonight's show. Tomorrow, of course, will be the match preview show for Bournemouth. Of course, that'll be at 9 p.m. tomorrow, one or the other anyway. But again, tomorrow, there's going to be a video up for you guys. Again, I'm going to talk about Cody Gakpo and the impact he's having for Liverpool this season. I think he's been really, really good for Liverpool, immense in some parts as well. And I think, look, right now he's on 20 goals and assists in all competitions, like that, as well with Mo Salah, Luis Diaz also adding to it. Again, Liverpool's front three, in terms of goals and assists, like, the quality is unbelievable, and probably the best in the Premier League, for a front three as well. So again, we're going to be talking about that. Like I said, we'll be live then tomorrow night for, of course, the match preview show for Bournemouth. And yeah, if anything else does come out, of course, we'll try and be live for that at least anyway. But I'm going to leave it there for tonight, guys. Anyway, big thank you for everyone for tuning in. If you are new, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well if you are new. And yeah, I've been Connor from the COP Council. I see you guys tomorrow. Ta-ra.